Hey there, this is an off of the couch reaction to Andor season 2, its finale episodes 10, 11, and 12. Off of the couch because, sometimes I do out of the theater reaction videos. In this case, it's off of the couch. We're going to do a longer live stream or a more robust live stream with a few friends later on in the week, but this is just a short video to just share some thoughts. This season of Andor has been such a blessing and such a statement to what Star Wars can be. And I say that, if I reflect over the past 10 years or whatever it's been of Star Wars, there are the films that I have enjoyed. There are the episodes of the Disney Plus series, various Disney Plus series that I have enjoyed. But the standouts are Rogue One, Andor season 1, and now Andor season 2. And I think with these things, obviously you've got the creative forces behind them, but it's a testament to how you can tell a more mature story in the Star Wars franchise. The roots of Star Wars has been right to, is space wizards with laser swords for 12-year-olds or something along those lines from George Lucas. But for many of us who first saw Star Wars, perhaps when you were a kid, whether that means that your childhood was with the original trilogy or the prequels or the sequels, um, you want for, or at least I have wanted for, Star Wars to kind of grow up with me. There's nothing wrong, though, with Star Wars being Star Wars, Star Wars being the way it is. I really enjoyed Skeleton Crew, and I wish more people had seen that, especially younger audiences. But with this, it's kind of that experiment of I just saw Thunderbolts. I saw Thunderbolts twice. You can check out our my out of the theater reaction video about that. I really enjoyed that movie, and I enjoyed it. I think even more the second time, honestly, because with that story, it's very unique. The parts that I think don't work as well are the down the middle kind of superhero movie kind of things that you expect to see. Those are fine and it's executed well. But what sets it apart are the aspects that it's almost like Marvel as an indie movie, right? The discussions about mental health and the feelings of emptiness and other aspects. Those are what makes those are what makes Thunderbolts stand out. And I think it's these more mature elements in Andor as a series have truly made it stand out of telling a more mature story around the Star Wars franchise or in this Star Wars universe. I truly have enjoyed that and have appreciated it. And thank you. Yeah, Skywalker's Academy. It was just done so very well, and it's a testament to. I mean, you kind of wonder what are those core elements that make Andor what it is. Part of it is, budget probably is not an insignificant factor, but the creative energy and where it's coming from, the boldness, like with Rogue One, to not have a happy ending for all of those characters, right? And so to have that independence to tell a story that makes sense, that aligns with what the creators are looking for, that that carries through. That carries through. Um, with these final 3 episodes here, I am so glad that we got to see the backstory for Luthen. We got to understand what is exactly the relationship between Clea and Luthen. Is Clea the one pulling the strings? Actually, is she seems to be more expert at times. Um, And you kind of see, Luthen lose it in episode 9, I think. Just all of these threads and not really understanding how they all connect. They're being overburdened, overloaded with information. Um, so with episode 10, to be able to take a moment to learn more. What is the actual relationship between Luthen and Clea? And it is that adoptive child, the father daughter, adopted family storyline. And I think there's something to be unpacked there of how that is a theme both within Andor, right? Cassian and Marva, Leia and Bail Organa. There's something to be unpacked there, and I'm sure there's other examples that you could look across the Star Wars franchise. So to see more of what's driving them is excellent. And even though it's not a very long episode, none of these 3 episodes here are very long. And actually, I think the last two are less than 50 minutes long. So it's an efficient use of story to let you get more of a glimpse into the lives of these characters, and it makes the final actions of Clea that much more tragic. I don't know about you. I was watching the episode pan out, and you see the only person who's going to take down Luthen was actually Luthen himself. But after he is, taken to the hospital thing, and you see Clea and her motivation to rescue her father, her adopted father, um, you wondered, how is this going to work? How is one person going to be able to get through all of these stormtroopers, all of these Imperials, and rescue Luthen, who is gravely wounded? And when she opens the door and you could see the respirator, um, it was evident for me in that moment. This is not a rescue mission. It's going to be that she's going to have to sacrifice Luthen herself. Um, I'm reluctant to cover it, but um, with the passing of my own father, um, and you may have encountered this yourself, a loved one or other people in your network. Um, to have to disconnect the respirator. It's not something I wish um, on somebody. So to see that sacrifice was the tragic choice she had to make was really powerful, really, really powerful, and it that much more sad. In terms of the final 2 episodes, and for me, I kind of mashed them all together here. I would have liked more time to see the relationship between K2 SO and Cassian. That would have been. I thought we would see maybe more of them in season 2, but I'm grateful for the moments that we got to see in these final episodes of K2 coming online, the friendship that they have or the relationship that they have. I didn't realize, though, and I'm interested in your thoughts. He has memories of his past life. He remembers being in the parade of what, 200 other K2 units, and the Emperor was there. How does that work? Right? It's not like the memory wipe that happens with C3PO or R2, right? Where somehow they don't remember a lot of what happened in the prequels or anything. How does that work where he remembers that? But anyways, I, I don't know if that was an issue for you. I just thought, oh, that's kind of different. Um, so I would have liked to have seen more of the K2 and Cassian relationship. Super funny, though. I did enjoy it. And, with these episodes, or with this entire season, you got to see the evolution from a bunch of disparate rebel factions to the formation of the Rebel Alliance. And with that Rebel Alliance, how frayed it actually is. You've got um, you've got Forrest Whitaker, what, out on Jeddah and his band of rebels and the kind of odd things that he's up to. But then you've also got Luthen on Coruscant and what he is doing. But then even on Yavin, how there is not necessarily a unified opinion or unification around, what they should or shouldn't be doing. There are those fractures there. So it's good to see. It was great to see those elements because um, the maturity that happens, right? How does this actually work? How does this actually work to create a rebel alliance? I thought was great to see in this Disney Plus series. Oh, and thank you for this, Skywalker's Academy. Yeah, the thought that crossed my mind, but then I need to put on my glasses because it's late. Then reprogramming doesn't mean wipe and reinstall. It just means they are programmed differently. Otherwise, you have to That makes sense. Otherwise, you have to retrain the fighting in a droid. That makes sense. Otherwise, you got an appliance in your Ewing. So that thank you for that. That makes a great deal of sense. So I appreciated, with these episodes to see the fractures within the alliance, and also great to see Bail Organa. Benjamin Bratt is really smart casting. It would have been nice to see Jimmy Smits. I think there are certain folks in the Star Wars fandom that are bent out of shape about that. I think is fine. I love Benjamin Bratt as an actor, so that was really really great. Um, but nonetheless, I did appreciate being able to see the evolution of the Rebel Alliance, and also there was a concerted effort in episode 12 to make the color palettes match, right? You saw in the evolution of this Yavin setting, you've got more light, you've got the jungle environment, right? And in the third bank of episodes, you saw the greenery on the pyramids, right? And now those have been cut away because now it's more formally a base for the Rebel Alliance. Um, and so the color palette used it changed throughout these episodes. And I think if you were to take episode 12 against Rogue One, or at least mentally in my head, I think they match up quite nicely. Um, with episode 12, to see the doubt that happens, right? The doubt about, can we trust Luthen? He's a conspiracy theorist? All of the things that he's done, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Can we actually trust him? And I think that was well done. I now want to watch Rogue One again, like as quickly as I humanly can, to because it has been a little bit of time. Does that distrust? Can we the amount of distrust? I think syncs up with Rogue One, but I just don't have enough of a recollection of all of the elements in Rogue One. But if you have better memories than me, post down below. Um, let's see. I'm just taking a look at my other quick notes. This was just meant to be a quick touch base here. Um, I think how they wrapped up the different storylines was generally well handled. The downfall of Dedra was great to see. I don't know if it makes sense that she made that leap to, acting on, now I've got the access. I'm gonna hunt him down myself while Hirt, Supervisor Hirt was on his day off. I don't know if I fully believe that she would have jumped to that action, but nonetheless, you needed to wrap up the Dedra storyline, and she makes a dramatic downfall. A thing that I thought was missing that I had expected to see somewhere in these final episodes is what happened with Mon Mothma's family. What the ex-husband or husband appears very very briefly, with that other person, drinking in the speeder, whatever that is. Um, Given the amount of time that was spent earlier in the act, no, I take that back, in season one and the front half of season two, the daughter that is married off to this other family just for the sake of trying to get out of this situation with monies, and being the Imperials figuring out where the dollars are going. um, I would have expected to see more of that story of what ultimately happened to the daughter. Now, were they um, imprisoned? Were they taken in by the Imperials? Or was there an exercise to evacuate them? Did Mon Mothma make a an even greater sacrifice, not just her seat on the Senate, but her very own family for the purpose of the rebellion? I don't know, and maybe there's something in the comics or the books or what have you that I'm not versed in. I would have expected to see something or some kind of acknowledgement there, but yeah, I didn't. I didn't. That didn't happen here. Here's a thing. If there's any question, oh yeah, if there is any question, Cassian's sister is Clea. Carrie was with Belle Swark, and little Clea was April V. Woods. So they are different actresses. No, that's really great. Wow, I had not even gone there. That's really interesting as a thought. Wow, I I'm blown away yeah, Lida. Yeah, I'm blown away at that element. Could that have is that oh wow. I now need to like step back and think about that. Um and then also here, yeah, she has a baby and loves her husband. Mon doesn't see their child until 12 years later, I heard. I'm not sure if that's true. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, what life that must have been for her daughter, for her family to make that such a huge sacrifice. Um, the imperial, army, the empire, you know, is quick to imprison people, and they put people on the death march. I think death march is specifically said. Um, yeah, what happened with them here? Would have been nice to see some aspect of that in the finale. Um, I think in terms of overall reactions, I'm just looking at my scribblings here. I need better penmanship. I I've got I don't know what's going on with me. I need better penmanship, but I think I covered most of it. Oh, I this is just fan service. This is just me. Um, I was kind of hoping that we might see Andy Serkis here, that he did find a way out, that maybe somebody got him a life preserver or something to get off that prison, right? I know he can't swim, but maybe somebody found him a little dinghy or something. Uh, that would have been total fan service, and I'm sure everybody would have had a bunch of red laser eyes videos about how that's goofy. But I was kind of hoping for that, but that perhaps thankfully did not happen. Anyways, well, anyway, we're gonna do a longer video to talk about thoughts and reactions to Andor season two, or Andor as a series. This has been such a gift. I've truly enjoyed it. I enjoyed this one for sure. And if you got to see our videos about Daredevil Born Again, yeah, I really enjoyed that as well for the most part. And so I hope that on the Disney Plus front, to the extent that they're continuing to produce content, that it's on this level, right? On par with this level, because this has been really wonderful, wonderful storytelling. I want to get to this as well here. One of I'm sorry. Let me go back. People trying to make connections in a vast galaxy of things and people we already know about. There was speculation about every girl character was Cassian's sister. Yeah, no, no, absolutely, that's true. Ah, you know, there was a thing that um, I wondered about Rogue One, and with with that movie, let's see how to do this. We've all seen all of these movies, right? Where you've got the hero and you got this, whether male and female, and then there's this forced kind of love story, and it doesn't really make sense, but it feels like it just check the box, you need to have it kind of thing. And so I've appreciated really, that's not a thing anymore to force that kind of element. But in Rogue One, you've got, Cassian, you've got Jyn Erso, and there's not any kind of remote love interest at all, which is great, right? It just tells a cleaner story. Um, but there's that embrace that happens at the end, and you kind of you wonder, well, was there actually a love interest that happened there? Was there something more? And and the answer is no, right? There isn't that element here. There wasn't that element, and it makes it that much more tragic to watch that. And again, I'm looking forward to watching Rogue One again. But the final scene, excuse me, of Rogue One, where they make that supreme sacrifice, and they die in that embrace together. Excuse me. Um, it's late and I need to drink something. But what was my point with that? Oh yeah, and so it's great to have that to know that much more about Andor, his relationship with Bix, and oh man, the tragedy of that story, right? That he hopes that when things die down that we'll be back together or something like that, and that doesn't happen. That won't ever happen, right? We all know that, right? When he says it, um, to spend the final 3 minutes of seeing Bix with her child, that was that really got the heartstrings. Excuse me. Anyways, other things here. Um, lesson learned for me: not to do a live stream without a cup of water. Reading the comment, one of my favorite aspects of Andor ends in how the villains do suffer, but not at the hands of the protagonist, but because fascism eats its own. Even while that's really a wonderful observation. Yes, that's exactly it. Nobody comes out unscathed. Neither Krennic nor Partagaz nor Cyril. Everybody meets their end. They think that they are making the right choices. They think that they are in the in crowd on this diabolical gamesmanship. But in the end of the day, they all die. Horrible ends. Yes, and so yeah, maybe maybe Andy Circus and Dedra meet up somehow. Wouldn't that be wild, right? It's a buddy comedy that happens in space between Dedra and Andy Circus. Oh man, what is his character's name? Um, oh yeah, and okay, and so thank. I'm sorry for not pulling this up further. Nemec's manifesto is so wonderful. It was wonderful to hear it in those final moments, and of episode 12. But I think it's like, if there's like an introspective thing about this show, it's about how every person, whether you're a leader of the Rebel Alliance, whether you're General Draven or Admiral Radis or what have you, everybody has a role. And actually, the most inspirational figures for Andor come from the humble beginnings, the people as humble as a clerk, as a hotel clerk, right? And he gives that phrase, right? Rebellions are built on hope. It's he who is able to tell the story of the sacrifice that his family made of seeing his father, being killed by the Empire in Gorman, and it's he who blows himself up in that final battle on Gorman. There's something to be taken away of how every single person is like ripples in the ocean, right? That are contributing to this greater cause. Whether it's somebody as that's a rebel leader, or it's somebody who just is convicted in what they can do, or if they're a politician who is trying to do things in a particular way and then needs to make supreme sacrifices of herself, or it's even the pacifist who then needs to be the one to pull the trigger on Cyril. Um, Here we have the comment here from Connor Williams. Hey there, Connor. I like how it's implied that the manifesto is so well circulated by the Rebel Alliance at this point that even members of the ISB like Legret have heard snippets of it. Nemec didn't die in vain. Yeah, yeah. No, that's such a wonderful thing. Um, yeah, again, there's so much to unpack and digest from this show. Yeah, surely you've heard it. Yes, yeah. Um, and sorry, Skywalkers, I'm hopping all over on your comments. Yeah, I am Kino. I am the manager of 24D, just on a different level. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. Um, um, there's it's hard to watch these kinds of shows and not apply history or current events to them. We're not going to go into a political dialogue in this thing, but there's something about that. There's like a lesson here. A thing that I often say is that history doesn't repeat itself, but it sure as rhymes, right? And so you can um, look at history, and you can look at the similarities or how things are a bit of a playbook, and things repeat themselves. And there's a lesson, there's a message to be taken away here of how people act in periods of discomfort, and how that is a testament to their character. um I'm gonna do better and trying to be more eloquent when I have some more of my friends on a live stream later in the week about this. But yeah, man, such a great show, huh? Such a great show. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap it up if that's okay. I'm gonna get a drink of water and probably get some sleep. Uh, Thanks for spending a little bit of your evening with us here, me here. And if you're watching later, post in the comments about your feelings and your reactions. We'll have a longer discussion about that. Connor writes, "What I wanted was an excellent Star Wars show. I got that, but what I also got was a gritty, granular examination of authoritarianism." That's so exactly right. That's so exactly right. Um, It's scary, right? It's scary. This show has elevated how scary and intimidating the Empire actually is. You know, you watch um episode 4, you know, A New Hope, Star Wars. If you're old enough, it was just called Star Wars. Um, you know, it's got a beginning and an end, and it's clean. Empire is some kind of cartoony bad guy kind of thing. Um, you got Darth Vader, you know, really scary, you know, with the red lightsaber and stuff. Um, and then I think with the prequels, you got to appreciate all of the pieces that the emperor was moving, right? How he was a Sith in plain sight, or under, and not in plain sight, but you know how he had been playing the long game here. Um, and now, you know, we've gotten to see with Andor, no, the Empire is scary in its own right as well. To play the game of using the you know, creating the demonizing the Gormans, right, to justify some brutal action upon them, to twist the story that, yeah, if you watch Family Ties, I don't know why I'm doing this. With Family Ties, was it Michael J. Fox goes on this foreign exchange thing to Britain, to London, and he learns that the American Revolution is actually taught as the American Rebellion, right? So it's a really interesting kind of awakening that he has, and puts him kind of in his place. But the reason for bringing that up is, you know, from different angles, from different sides, the stories can be viewed in obviously starkly different ways. So the Empire playing this game of creating the rebels, and you know, motivating this insurrection that happens to justify the brutal action so that they can brutalize the planet and extract out these energy um, elements to power the Death Star. It just shows how brutal and scheming and uh, fascist the Empire truly is. Um, and so that, and also to make somebody else pointing this out in a live stream or in their comments about the Garmin massacre, the stormtroopers are not cartoons, right? Everybody jokes about how the stormtroopers can't shoot or anything like that, or they have terrible aim, but they are a horrible force to be reckoned with in the Gorman massacre. So to be able to um, elevate Star Wars in this way with Andor has been truly a remarkable achievement, and for me has further elevated, I guess, my fandom of Star Wars in a positive way, for sure. We've talked about this before. Not everything on Disney Plus Star Wars has been that great, but still it is Star Wars, so that is great. Um, but man, what a great show! And yeah, Skywalker's Academy, it is a great show. Thank you, and may the Force be with you always. All right, well, thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time. And we'll do another live stream later. I'll be a little bit more composed than I am right now. It's a little late, and so appreciate you for spending a little bit of time with us. All right, take care. Have a good night. The force will be with you always. Good night.